Okay, so I think I am live here simultaneously on both Instagram and Facebook. It's we're in the days of COVID, so I'm getting as uh, I don't even know what kind of savvy this is. This is just crazy. So if you are tuning in for this, I'd love to hear from you. And because of this format, I have, well, there's a couple things. First of all, I can't see you or hear you. So if you have any questions, you'll have to put them in the comments, and I will get to them as soon as possible, probably after we do class. And another thing that I have happening is that Facebook has me flipped one way and Instagram has me flipped the other way. So if I'm saying right and left and I don't look like it's right and left, or if I start getting really messed up on right and left, know that I'm simultaneously seeing myself face two directions, which is going to be a whole new okay, so let's see. We'll get started in just a moment with this practice. This will also end up on YouTube later. This is welcome to YogaLoka Fest. Sorry, it's a fundraiser for YogaLoka, a really amazing group that has been local in Gainesville for a while, but has spread, I think, around even internationally. And I'm always really happy to do fundraisers and work for them because they're pretty fantastic people. All right, let's go. This is going to be about alignment, essentially, today, and specifically alignment within biomechanics. And we're going to play with, honestly, the space in between. So I want you to first just take a look at your body and feel your bones a little bit, and know that between each bone to bone, right, where you have joints, right, let's consider that space. Yeah, you're not glued together in any kind of brittle way. You have like these wonderful, juicy spaces between each of your bones. So we're going to celebrate that today. All right. So start laying down. Have your knees bent. If you'd like, your head can be on a blanket. Really, the only thing you'll need today is a mat. And so supine, maybe head, close your eyes. This is an easy place to be. As much as you can, take your eyes off the screen. Right? We get so narrow in our focus. So as much as you can, take your eyes off the screen and bring in your peripheral vision. So even if the eyes are closed, imagine them soft and wide. And take a moment to connect with breath. Just seeing how it feels moving into your body. Then begin to take your right knee to the right, leaving your left knee pointing towards the ceiling, and back up to center, and the left knee to the left, and center, and right knee to the right, and center, and left knee to the left, and center. Now push into your left foot and bring your right leg up, and you're going to dorsiflex the ankle, bend the knee well, and bend at the hip joint well, letting the leg come to the side like an unassisted happy baby. And then press through the toes. Then bend ankle, knee, and hip to draw the knee back by the side and press through the toes. Then bend ankle, knee, and hip and extend the leg out to the side to press through the toes. And again, bend ankle, knee, and hip and extend the leg to the side to press through the toes. Then soften that leg back. Bring the foot to the floor. Take the right leg to the right and come to center. Then left leg to the left and come to center. Now push into the right foot to bring the left leg up. Again, that unassisted happy baby, letting the knee kind of come out to the side and really emphasizing the dorsiflexion in the ankle. And press. Then ankle, knee, and hip. Bend and press. And as you press, reach through the toes. Bend ankle, knee, and hip. And press and bend ankle, knee, and hip. Now we're going to go out to the side and reach. Bend ankle, knee, and hip. And reach to the side and bend ankle, knee, and hip. And reach to the side. Now soften the leg back in. Bring the right knee to the right and back up to center. And left knee to the left and up to center. And just notice if there's any changes in the space in the hips. And I want you to just keep with that pattern and take a look at your legs and see if the knee touches the floor without taking that opposite hip up. It probably doesn't. Right? So that's going to really change how we look at some of these externally rotated standing poses, right? The hip sockets are not offset way out to the side for the majority of the world. The hip sockets actually face a little to the side and forward, right? So play again side to side one more time, just kind of embracing a range of motion that feels soft and easy without any pressure on your hip joints. Then shift on to your favorite side and rest your head in your arms. And keeping the top leg heavy, press to come up to seated, taking the head up last. Now, shift forward from here into tabletop. And if the floor feels hard on your knees, you can fold your mat up underneath it, or you can grab a blanket or a towel and have that go underneath it. We will do I'm in love with kneeling work. It's really interesting. So first, I want you to just slide back and forth. Again, celebrating that deep bend at the hip joint. And maybe even inviting a bit of a stretch for the low back, swinging back and forth, only going as far back as the joints continue to feel spacious, right? We're not looking for compression, we're looking for a range of motion. Back up to tabletop, and we're going to begin to take cat-cow, but just with the lumbar spine. So moving from the base of the pelvis, take the low back towards the ceiling, and then let the belly go. And when I say let the belly go, like do it in the most unflattering possible way. Yeah? Just let it soften. It's really what it wants to do. Yeah, and lift up and soften. Just think it'll be very flattering for your organs. And lift up and soften. Keep the back of the neck long. Lift up and soften. Now, moving from the base of the pelvis, lift the low back and roll right up through the thoracic spine. Release the back of the neck and really press your hands away from you, coming up into a big Halloween cat. Then on the next breath cycle, let the belly soften towards the floor. Even let the shoulders soften. And then pull your chest forward as you draw your shoulder blades down your back. All right, now the shoulder blades are going to go in the opposite direction. Base of the pelvis begins the movement. Come all the way up. Halloween cat. Shoulder blades slide towards the pinky fingers. And then again, open the belly wide. Let it fall down towards the floor. Get really, even a little scrunchy in the shoulders between the back. Then push into the base of the thumb and the base of the forefingers to bring the chest forward. Now again, lift up, high Halloween cat. We're going to add. Keep the high Halloween cat and sway your hips back towards your heels, keeping that big round curve, and feel a little bit of opening for the back body. Don't let your hands slide back. Then send your sits bones back to bring your chest forward, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. And again, lift up, high Halloween cat. Open the back body, then slide the hips back and send the sits bones back to open the belly long and come forward. Now, come into neutral spine, whatever that means for you. Wiggle your hips and shoulders side to side. Then I want you to walk your hands back to your knees. And this is where you really maybe prefer some cushion underneath. So again, you can fold your mat up or stick a towel or a blanket there. Now reach your arms up and grow long through your side bodies. Let your shins move down into the floor and reach up, up, up with your arms, especially through the pinky fingers. Lift the back ribs and allow, so this back side of you goes up, and allow the ribs to soften into the body. So it's as if the rib cage and the sternum move in these two different directions, yeah? One up, one down. Then take the arms to the sides, reach out right through the center fingers, and spin just the upper back to the right. Just the upper back. Reach through the center fingers and lift the sternum just a little bit more. Then come to center. And spinning just the thoracic spine, just the upper back, you're going to go to the left. Reach through the center fingers and broaden across the collarbones as you lift the heart up. Keep the ribs soft. And come back to center. Now let your arms swing down, shake them out a little bit, and reach up. Interlace your fingers and press your palms up towards the ceiling. Really press, especially the thumb side. Now this really wants to take the ribs forward, but sacrifice the arm, the range of motion in the arms. Let the arms come forward if you need to, in order to lift the back ribs. And from here, you're going to shift over to the right side, reaching a little bit extra long through the left arm. Then come through center and go over the second side. And come through center. Then release and let the arms shake out. Good. Then shift forward into tabletop and send your right leg back. Bounce a little bit into that ankle. Then swing the right leg to the side and back. And swing it to the side and back. And to the side and back. And to the side and back. Drop into the heel and let that knee come to the floor, and then go second one. Left leg goes back and swing it to the side and back and to the side and back. Press a little bit more through the left palm to the side and back and to the side and back. Good. Now we're ready for a really deep down dog. So if you can, you're going to sit back all the way on your heels and open your knees. If you can't, you're going to start here with it and just reach the hips back and reach the arms forward. So they can be, hips can be a little lifted, or you can take them down towards the heels, open the knees wide, and walk your arms forward. And before you get to your furthest point, I want you to lift the forearms up towards the ceiling. Walk the spider fingers away from you, and then press down into the base of the thumb and the base of the forefingers. Keep the arms that extended and breathe in, opening the side bodies. Then come up just a little bit, and you're going to take your feet hip width apart now and move your sits bones back, tucking the toes underneath. So this is a transition into downward facing dog, but really it's a prone squat. Yeah, so push into the big toes, reach the heels back, grow the belly long, then inhale all the way along the spine to bring the hips up without shoving forward into the shoulders. Yeah. Now lift your hips up even more. Lift your heels up and bring the hips back towards the heels, again, without shoving into the shoulders. So one more time, press through the feet to come up and lift up. Then walk your hands and feet towards each other. Bend ankles, knees, and hips and bounce a little bit. Then with an inhale, press through the feet to come up, reach up, lengthen through the back body, and exhale, release, and swing through your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrists. Good. Now, grab your mat. I meant to have a mat when I showed this, and I want you to roll up a portion of your mat. It doesn't have to be the whole mat. So just roll up a portion of the mat. And you're going to send your right toes up the mat, leaving your heel on the floor. Now, bend that ankle. Let the knee go past the ankle and squeeze the big toe a little bit. All right, and release. And that's really more of a release for the big toe. Watch out for shoving the knee back. And squeeze with the big toe and bend the ankle. And release. Now you're going to take your left foot back a little bit more and drop that back heel, drop the back knee even as you bend the front ankle and squeeze the big toe and release. So it's like a baby warrior one. And bend ankles, knees, and a little bit hips and release. Good. Step back. And just check in with the space that that may have created, not in just the ankle, but all the way up that side of the body. In fact, reach your arms up and see if that shoulder even has a little bit more range of motion and freedom. And then exhale, let the arms swing. And so we go second side, starting with just the ball of the foot up the blanket, squeeze with the big toe, and bend ankle, knee, and hip. So don't worry about the back leg right now. Bend ankle, knee, and hip. Have a nice deep bend. Outer heel reaches down, big toe squeezes. And release. And heel down, shin forward. Good. And release. Now you're going to take the right leg back just a little bit, and we're going to bend both of them. Heel down, shin forward. And release, so that back heel doesn't leave the floor. And heel down, shin forward. Squeeze with that big toe. And release. Then step back. Check in with how everything feels above the ankles. See if the front of the hips feel a little bit longer and more open. Reach the arms up and check in with how that feels. And exhale, release, and swing. Okay, let's play with standing poses. Yeah? All right. So from the center of your mat, I want you to face the long side of your mat, bounce a little bit, and then hop or step your feet wide. Start with them parallel. And from here, bend ankles, knees, and hips, right? So you're coming into a little bit of a wide squat. We're going to have a conversation with the outside edge of the foot. And then open the front body, opening the front of the hips. You'll have to squeeze the cheeks a little bit to make that happen. They have to work some. And bend ankles, knees, and hips. And heels down. Front of the pelvis comes up. All right. So for me, the whole trick to having a nice deep anchor, it's not really a trick, it's just how our bodies function, in the externally rotated standing poses, which we're going to work on today, is to have that nice deep bend in that back ankle. Yeah, because without it, we have no access to our glutes. So from a nice wide stance. Well, first of all, let's figure out what that is. You're going to press into the ball of the left foot, inner spiral, and send that heel back. Right? Then open your right toes to the right, and I want you to play with where that is. Yoga offers a lot of good ideas, right? Heel to big toe, heel to arch. Like all of these things, I've said all of these things teaching over the years, right? And I know you've probably heard them if you've been a good student listening in class. But the truth is that we're all shaped a little bit differently, and differently enough that we need to make our own choices about how we stand. And that could change depending on tension patterns in your body. So if you stand setting up for Warrior Two, which is where we're headed, and you feel a little bit wobbly here, it is only going to get worse as we go into the pose. So I want you to play with taking the foot a little extra back and wide, and bend the ankle, knee, and hip, and just see how that feels, right? And then come back to the center and see how that feels, right? Remember, we're looking for space in the hip joint, yeah, and then maybe forward from that, see how that feels. And if we were all in a room together, probably there would be some differences. So I want you to put that foot back to where it feels really great, and then notice that your pelvis and your shoulders are probably not facing directly sideways. In fact, I'm not really even with the camera, but even then you can see I'm in this sort of no man's land. I'm not really in what's expected of Warrior Two, right, which puts a lot of pressure on my hip joint. And I'm not turned around for a Warrior One. I'm in the middle, and what I'm doing is letting my pelvis be itself. Yeah, it has its own natural pelvic intelligence. I don't need to tell it what to do. In fact, it's just, some of my biggest bones, right? And they don't move around a lot, so I probably shouldn't force them, okay? So I'm gonna let my pelvis and my shoulders just be where they want to be. Then I'm gonna recognize that I am in a little bit of a back bend because this hip is in extension, yeah? So I want you to take your bodies forward. Just take that out for a moment. We're gonna add it back in, I promise. All right, and then from here, root into that outer back heel, press the top of the thigh up and back, and find the cheek. Yeah, it should be working. So outer heel down, big toe down on that back foot. Then drive the front shin forward as if to move it from the calf to the toes. Yeah, then root to that back heel. Find that opening across the top of that thigh in order to straighten the front leg. And again, bend ankle, knee, and hip on that front leg. Drive the calf forward and root to the back heel to come up. Okay, let's add the rest, yeah? So now my feet can take up even more space. They're enjoying this. Heel down, shin forward on the front leg. Now I'm going to come towards Warrior Two. So I'm going to embrace that this is a back bend, yeah, and sweep the arms up. Then I'm going to open the arms out to the sides, wherever that is for them. And then just the thoracic spine, just this top part, is going to spin around into Virabhadrasana 2. Now I can worry about getting down there because I can check, do I have space in my joints? Am I cramming anything? Am I crunching anything? If there is space, front leg, outer heel down, big toe down, bend. Outer heel down, big toe down, bend. Outer heel down, big toe down, bend. Then root to the back heel to come up. Bring the feet to parallel. Wiggle around the legs, a whole nother side. Bounce in the ankles, and we'll come the second direction. So feet nice and wide. Take up some space, and then press into the ball of the right foot in our spiral to take that heel back, and then open the left toes to the left. And again, take a moment to see where that is for you today. Yeah, where does that space need to be, right? Eventually, with some practice, you'll get more intuitive about it and give your body permission to do what it wants. But once we've created habits where we're trying to fit ourselves into a box, essentially, those are hard habits to break. Yeah. All right. So outer heel down, big toe down. Press the top of the thigh up and back. right? You'll find the back of the leg and just take out the back bend for a moment so that we can really work with the legs on this. Front leg, heel down, shin forward. Okay. And root to the back heel to come up. And front leg, heel down, shin forward. And root to the back heel to come up. Front leg, heel down, shin forward. All right, now we're going to add the back bend, curl the chest up, reach the arms up, take them out to the side, and then just the thoracic spine. Remember, I'm still in this no man's land with my pelvis because I'm letting my pelvis be a pelvis. Spin your chest around to the side. Yeah. Now, if the hips still feel spacious, we can begin to go a little lower now. Outer heel down, big toe down, soften. Outer heel down, big toe down, soften. Outer heel down, big toe down, soften. So the lower you go, the bigger this back bend is because it's asking for more extension of this back hip joint. Then inhale, reach the back heel to come up, and exhale, bring the foot to parallel. Bounce around a little bit into those ankles, heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. Good. Spin for the upper back a bit. And we're going to hop or step out again. Yeah. Push into the ball of the left foot, inner spiral, send that heel back, open the right toes to the right. Yeah. Root those feet down, outer heels down, big toes down. Lift everything up and away from the floor. Allow for the body to tilt forward because we're going to find that back bend in a moment. But I want you to find that true kind of neutral for this hip. Where is this before we go into the back bend? Where is it in its actual extension? Yeah, without the spine. And then from here, sweep the arms up. Open the front of the chest. Reach right through the center of the fingers. Grow long. Now, push from the back foot to the front foot. Yeah? So press to come forward and out and over the front leg. I promise we're going to take the chest around. You'll take your hand anywhere along that leg to the shin. Outer heel down, big toes down. Find that arching diagonal on both feet. Push the top of this thigh up and back, and you can even think a little extra of that inner spiral. Now, leave all of this alone. Leave your pelvis alone. Reach up right through the center fingers and begin to spin the chest open, yeah, towards the side. Don't worry about taking the head up. Yeah? In fact, it's very interesting for something called your spiral line to take the head down. Spin the chest open. Let the nose drop towards the floor. Udhita Trikonasana. Now, if you'd like to go a little lower, draw this front outer hip back. Move from that big toe into that outer hip and create an even deeper crease on the front of the hip joint to take the hand a little bit lower and then spin the chest open. If you're going down, go little by little and then go a little bit lower and spin the chest open. Good. Reach to the back heel to come up and release. Bring your feet to center, wiggle around, and then we go second side. Push into the ball of the right foot, inner spiral to take that heel back, and then open the left toes to the left. And here it's the same. You're playing with that placement. What works for me today? Yeah? Now, outer heel down, big toe down, top of the thigh up and back. Go ahead and come forward for a moment so that you can really find the strength along the back of the leg and sweep the arms forward and up. Good. Now, take the torso forward and open the arms away from each other. Push with that back foot to bring weight into the front foot. Take your left hand down to the shin and have your right arm reaching up. So now we go for the spin. Yeah? Leave the pelvis alone and spin just the chest open. Both legs, outer heels down, big toes down. Just the chest comes open. Outer heels down, big toes down. Just the chest opens. Now look down towards the floor and add a little bit of intention for the spiral line. Now, if you want to go lower, this front outer hip has to come back, and the hand can come lower. And the front outer hip has to come back, and the hand can come lower, and then spin the chest up. Take a couple more breaths here. Then inhale, press to the back heel to come up. Bring your feet to parallel, and heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. Good, wiggle around. Then come to wherever the back of your mat might be. Reach your arms up and check out how that feels. Drop down into the outer heels, drop into the big toes. Reach long through the side bodies and see if you have created some more space. Then on the next breath cycle, bend ankles, knees, and hips to come forward. Release the back of your neck, and then walk your hands forward to high plank, high push-up position. Press the floor away from you. Lift up in the back between the shoulders and press the floor away from you. Take a big inhale here, and exhale, knees to the floor, bellies to the floor. Now take your hands wide, reach long through your toes, and imagine that you're creating space in the hip joint by reaching the toes towards the wall behind you. So create space there and create space there. And then inhale to curl your chest forward. Hands are nice and wide, back of the neck long. Try to take your eyes away from the screen. And release. Now, take your hands a little bit closer to the body, press up through tabletop, and then come all the way back to seated. So this whole practice today is about sharing something I learned from a woman named Anne-Marie Auter, and she is just a really spectacular biomechanist and teacher of dance medicine. So it's very simple, and I often really I like to use either a strap or a TheraBand, but this also works just on its own. In fact, that's how she taught it to me. I just added the melodrama of the strap or the TheraBand. So from here, again, I want you to create a universe of space in that hip joint. So all you're doing is reaching the leg away from you. Now, you might be tempted to push the knee down, but that's not creating space in the hip joint. That's just hyperextending. So you're really trying to slide the heel away from the hip and the hip away from the heel. And release, and then slide. So these two places move apart. And release, and slide. Create that space. And release, and slide. And release. Now drag the heel up. Let the knees come in and out a little bit, and we go second one. Hip and heel move away from each other. Slide the heel out and release, and slide the heel out and release, and slide and release, and slide and release. All right, shift onto your favorite side. This is my favorite part. Come back, set up for that down dog prep. So tuck your toes under, move your hips back, reach your arms really long, press through your feet to come into downward facing dog. And then walk your hands and feet towards each other, bend ankles, knees, and hips. Then inhale, press through the feet to come up, reach up, and exhale, release, and swing. Okay, let's see what happened when we created space. So hop or step your feet wide, 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 nice and wide, yeah? Press into the ball of the left foot in our spiral and take that heel back, and then open the right toes to the right. Outer heel down, big toe down. Let the torso come forward and find the action in the legs. Then from here, drive the calf forward, coming nice and deep into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. If you let go of this, find it again. Yeah, more ankle is the answer. Yeah, if in doubt, more ankle and pressing. All right, on the next inhale, reach your chest up, open the front body. Make sure there's space in all of your joints, that nothing feels crunched or pressured, right? We're decompressing. Open them out to the sides, wherever that is for you, and then spin just your thoracic spine around. Now let's take it to extended side angle, Udhita Parsva Konasana. You're going to bend the ankle, knee, and hip a little bit more. Maybe take the forearm to the thigh. Now I notice my cheek was escaping the work, yeah? So I'm going to keep holding that line on the back of the leg. Sweep the top arm forward and to the top ear. Now I'm going to reach with my hip as the center point, infinitely down into the back heel, and infinitely up through the top pinky fingers. Those are the fascial connections. If you'd like, this hand can come down to a block or to the floor. Now spin just the thoracic spine open. We're not trying to do anything to the pelvis, yet let it be a pelvis. Yeah? Then take the top arm up and back to come up. And bring the front foot in. Now you have to even out your toes, because when you allow your body to make choices, it rarely fits inside a linear parameter, right? You are an organic being with round, curvy shapes. So push into the ball of the right foot, inner spiral, and send that heel back. And then open the left toes to the left and put that foot wherever you would like. Let your pelvis be a pelvis. Yeah, come a little bit forward so that you don't have to worry yet about the back bend. It's coming. Outer heels down, big toes down. Pull up and out of your joints. Even all the ones through the spine and all the ones through the cervical vertebra. Right? I guess it's the spine too, but we forget that. Yeah. Lift the cranium up and off the body, and then bend ankle, knee, and hip. Now sweep the arms forward and up. Take them directly to the side, wherever that may be. Then spin the chest around, right? Respecting the direction of the pelvis, right? Your spine is in both a back bend and a twist here. Now, on the next breath cycle, you can take your left forearm to your left thigh and sweep the top arm to the top ear. Open the front of the hip by working with the back of the leg. Outer heel down, big toe down, top of the thigh up and back. Reach infinitely from the hip through the back heel, and reach infinitely from the hip through the top pinky finger. Allow the scapula to release and go, and maybe even take the left hand to the floor or to a block. Growing even longer. Spin the chest open a little bit more. Then inhale, reach to the back heel to come up. Bring your feet to parallel, and heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. Good. Wiggle the spine around a little bit. All right. Then hop or step your feet wide, back to Utthita Trikonasana. Hands come to the tops of the thighs. Press into the ball of the left foot, inner spiral, to send the heel back, and open the right toes to the right. And put that foot wherever it would like to be. Reach up. Press with the back foot to take weight into the front foot. And bring your right hand anywhere along that leg that feels okay for you. Or maybe if you have a block, that's a wonderful place to be. Blocks are lovely. All right, now outer heel down, big toe down on the back leg to open the front of this thigh. Don't worry about spinning the pelvis anywhere. We're going to spin the rest of the spine. So take the center of the heart up towards the ceiling. The gaze can go up and down this time, and just see what feels really good to you. Take another breath cycle up and down. Then inhale, reach through the top center fingers to come up. And exhale to release. Feet parallel. Utthita Trikonasana, one more side. Wiggle your hips around. Then press into the ball of the right foot. Inner spiral and send that heel back. And then open the left toes to the left. Put that foot wherever you'd like. Press with the back foot. Take the back bend out. Just find where the pose is. Yeah, press with the back foot and then let this come forward. Bring your hand anywhere along the leg. Yeah. Open the front of this hip by finding more of the back leg. Then top arm reaches up. Spin just the sternum around to come up, just the sternum. And again, gaze back and forth, back and forth. This is really lovely work for something called the dura, and that's a topic for another day. On the next inhale, reach through the top arm to come up, and then bring the foot in. Heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. Good. And let your spine swing around. All right. Come from the front of your mat to reach up. Lengthen through the back body and allow the ribs to soften in. So sternum lifts and back ribs lift. Exhale, round forward. Release the back of the neck. Now, show your collarbones forward and palm the floor. Then step your legs back, way back, into an elongated downward facing dog. Feet push down, hips lift up. Hands push down, hips lift up. Release the back of the neck. Now lift your hips up even more and bring your knees all the way down without shoving forward into your shoulders. Walk your hands back up and come to seated. So sitting comfortably anyway, I want you to wiggle your neck around, just let it bob side to side. Then you're going to take one hand to that same side of your head and keeping pressure between the head and the hand, now bob side to side. Yeah, so the hand is pressing, the head is pressing. And release and wiggle around. And then we go second side, head to hand to head. Let the head go side to side, keeping a little bit of that tension, side to side. And release and wiggle around. All right, now lay down with your knees bent again. And before we get to Shavasana, we're going to go back to where we started. Just check in with what changes happened. Take the right knee to the right and back up. Then the left knee to the left and back up. And right knee to the right and up. And the left knee to the left and up. Now extend the right leg out and extend the left leg out. If you would like, I want you to place something underneath your head and ideally even the tops of your shoulders so it allows the ribs to soften into the body. Okay. That way you know the thoracic spine is supported. When the ribs are flaring out, like mine are here, that means there's tension in your back. Yeah, and you're going to want to support that. So let your arms rest by your sides. And bring your attention back to your breath. Begin to invite the exhales to become longer and slower. And allow the inhales to have less effort, less purpose. Give yourself permission for just the next few moments to do absolutely nothing. Now let your right leg just shake side to side, right? So as if you're just rolling the head of the femur in the hip socket. And release. And let your left leg shake side to side. And release. And roll your shoulders around just the tiniest bit, maybe sliding them up and down. Then let them settle back down to the floor. And then wiggle your jaw around, opening and closing your mouth. And let it soften so the lips are closed, but the teeth are not clenched. Then shift on to your favorite side and rest your head in your arms. And with as little effort as possible, press up to seated, bringing your head up last. Come into a comfortable sit. All right, namaste, you guys. Thank you so much. I have the link here set up for the YogaLoka festival page and the fundraiser page. I hope if you can, you donate. Otherwise, it's been really lovely doing this with you today. And I will be going back through for questions, so I will slowly sit with some coffee in a bit and get back to you on those. Thank you so much. Have a happy, happy weekend and happy Mother's Day. Bye.